Hello, everyone, and welcome to a new Keto Systems webinar. Today, we will talk about the tile roofs, and specifically, we will have a focus on the hipped roof. My name is Salah from the Technical Sales Department, and with me today is a colleague joining us for the first time. Vladimir, could you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me too?
So,
Yeah, exactly.
could you please tell us, introduce yourself and tell us what you'll be discussing today?
Exactly. My name is Vladimir. I'm working in technical sales department as well as Salah. So today I will show you our webpage and some base calculation, how to calculate heat roof in base, and also a bit of our product catalog as well.
Thank you, Vladimir. So, in addition to what will Vladimir be showing us today, we will show also we will have an overview over the products, and we'll show some tools which will ease the installation for you on site. And before starting our webinar today, we'll summarize the housekeeping rules in case you are joining us for the first time. So the first thing, for any questions, you have a Q&A like button. You can click it and place your questions there. Please don't place the questions in the chat because it will help us more to follow up the questions and answer properly. If you, of course, placed it in the Q&A section. The second thing, there is a poll running, so answering it will help us improve the communication between us. We will know where you come from, which background. And finally, if you have a last minute question or if you could not put your question in text, please just raise your hand at the end of the webinar. We will say that, and then you will have the chance to talk to us. We will switch on your mic. So I think that was it for our rules today. So I'll start with you, Vladimir, and yeah, with our website.
Exactly. So let me show you something from our web page. So hopefully you can see it.
Yes, we see it,
Yeah.
Vladimir.
Okay. So I want to show you some points which may be important for you, maybe you don't aware of them. So the first point I want to see it, I want to show you. It's in this area, company and quality. There you can find our guarantee terms and some certificates of us. Not every customer is aware of it, but everything is online and you can find it as well. So the next point, our mounting systems, for example, our today subject tile roofs, you can find here pitch roof, and here you have all our systems with different roof covering. For example, our subject today is tiles, so single rail and solid rail are our systems for this type of covering. Another important part is our resource center. Here you can find, for example, coming webinars with date and subject, K2 training, where you can learn about our products, our mounting solutions, tutorials. These are a lot of videos explaining as well as our products. So also how to use base correctly, very important, very useful for beginners. And also download library. It's quite new here. So you can download assembly instructions in some important document also from our web page. Another way to see all the mounting instructions and information about our components is to visit our product catalog. Here in the right corner, you have a link to it. Let's take a look on our single rail system as our main system for tile roofs. And here in product catalog, you can see components for this system like hooks, screws, rails, and so on and so on. Here on the left side, you have very yeah, good possibility to filter. For example, if you're looking for module clamps, you can just click here and get this selection of only clamps. Or for example, if you're looking for roof hooks for single rail, you just click here inside and have all the hooks we use with our single rail. Another important point is for sure our download area, where you can find, for example, assembly instructions for all our roof hooks. Let us take a look how to install our single rail system. Very important is to check the requirements, where and how to install our single rail. Important mounting instructions as well. For example, here's information about thermal separation. Here you can see how to install the single rail. Also important that you have here the components with this article number, so you can easily find them and order them by the article number. So what's important here as well, he has shown how to mount the hooks. For example, our single hook 3S. So you have a rafter here, you put the hook on it, so you have to remove one tile, put the hook on the rafter and screw it with wooden screws. Usually you have to flex two hooks, the one of the bottom and the one on the one on the bottom and one of the top. So it's like easily explained. Sala will show you later on a sample how to use it, how to install it. There are two more very important documents. These are this roof matrix and roof fastenings document. These are very important to select the right hook you have to use with your type of tiles. So here you see the hooks and different type of these points of because here this if you have a duck point, it's like the hook is suitable for the tile. If it's like empty, this means that the hook is not suitable for this type of the tile, and when it's like gray, this means conditionally suitable. Conditionally suitable means that we are not sure if the hook will be suitable or not. You will have to order one piece and check it on your roof if it's suitable or not. So another important note for this matrix, it's written here. This means that we have very different hooks. For example, there are very different tiles, and the tiles can be very big or smaller and so on. So this means that not every hook is suitable with every tile. And what is important is that you calculate for your hook this boom length. Later, I will show you on a sample how to do it correctly. But now it's important for you. I want to show you how to see this boom length in our fastenings table. So here, the most important part of this table is this deep extension arm. This is T here, and this is very important in order to find out if the hook will be suitable for the tile or not. I will, as I said, I will later show you a sample, and I will explain how to use this matrix in this table. But now I want Salah to show you some products of us. And yeah. Salah, are you here? Do you want to take over?
Hi, Vladimir. Yes, I'm here, and thank you for for giving us a brief on the important things, important documents for planning a tile roof. So now I'll start with our two main rails. Like we explained that in previous webinars, but it's good always to mention that because These two rails are like related to our like profile of roof hooks. You have seen them before, of course. The single rail here, the solid rail here. As we see, what's the difference? One of them is being like connected from the from the side here, and one of them from the bottom side. And that's how it looks. So when do I use this rail and where and when do I use the other one? Like each type of rail between these two has some some roof hooks. So let me start also by two types of our hooks. Let me start with the 3S roof hook. So mainly we have the single hook here and the solid hook. So single hook because as we see there is some climber connected already to it, and here we can mount the single rail system. So there are other hooks, of course, which are single hooks connected to the single rail. This hook is called 3S. What it stands for? Because, for example, it has three elevations. So we can adjust, like we can increase the elevation of our model field by placing this part on the different three levels. On the other side, we have here the solid hook, and it works like this with the solid rail. So we'll insert the screw here in this channel, and then we will fix it, tighten it with the nut. Now, if I want to ask myself, uh, for example, when do I use the single hook and single rail, and when do I use the solid hook, solid rail? Actually, there is no fixed answer. For example, uh, as we realize here on the other side, now for both of our hooks, like one part is the availability. Which rail do I have available on my stock or in my site? That plays a role. And also on the other hand, these hooks are aluminum. We have also steel hooks. We have steel hooks, and the steel hook is usually thinner than the aluminum hook. And this will enable us to like to cut less of the tiles or of the shingles that we have on roof. So depending also on the static calculation that we have on base, because we calculate each project and like we calculate each case in K2 base, and depending on the quantity of these hooks, the needed quantities, I will also choose what is the best hook for me. Uh, like after showing these roof hooks, these are the main two types, but we have many roof hooks. We have a big portfolio of roof hooks. And to know the right one, it depends on my roof, like on the type of my shingles. Are they from clay or bitumen? And what do they look like? To answer that, Vladimir already showed us the roof hooks matrix, and I have to choose that carefully. That will be my first step in planning a project, and then I will go on with the other steps. After checking that, just to show a third product, for example, which is also connected to the single rail. These roof hooks, it's so obvious that that's how it looks like. And it's obvious that it works with plain tiles that can sit here in this area. So as I said, there are more and more products. Uh, I want to just show another some like I'll show some tools that we have that makes life and work easier on you on the roof. I'll start by the height compensator. It looks like this. Why do we use this product? For example, I want to increase the height of my, for example, of my roof hook. So the height of my model field. I can place this part under the hook itself, like this. And I'm going to show that on the roof in a while. Let us go to the roof. Let me explain it there. So here, as we see, this is the single hook 4S. Why that's called 3S and that's 4S? It's because of this fourth point of height modification. As we see here, we can increase the height in this long haul, for example. As we see, like this is my wood like rafter. We place the hook here, and I have here on the other side my tile. Let me just place, for example, my other tiles. Let me start with this one. Okay, and let me place also the other one. I have to always, by the way, check, like I have to see the channels here and place it to match the next one. I have to be sure also that it's like properly placed. As we see here, for example, for this type of tiles, we see that it's from this side here, we have cut some part of this tile in order to keep the same elevation, of course, of the whole model field. What if we did not cut this part? This tile will be elevated a little bit like this, for example. I cannot move it now, but this part, it will be a little bit elevated, and then it will affect the other part. It will be elevated also like that, and the effects will go along my roof. So it's important that we cut these places here. So for some type, like for the clay tiles, we cut both sides under, for firstly under the roof hook and above the roof hook. But with the bitumen tile, we cut only the tile from the bottom and not from the top. That's another point to take into account. Uh, and for some tiles, for example, it's easier, like they are not so brutal, they are not so hard, let me say, and like it's better for you to cut it from both sides. So that's why we use the hooks from aluminum. And for there are other tiles which are hard, and it's hard to me to cut it from both sides. That's why I will choose the steel roof hook, which is thinner. So it requires me to cut less of these tiles. So as I said, there is no concrete answer. It's about the situation of your tiles. For example, that's how we choose the roof hook and also the quantity of these hooks. Depending on the project, I may need 50 pieces of this roof hook and 40 of another one or 60 of another one. So like depending on the whole calculation, the situation of my roof, the whole situation, I will choose the right hook for me. After choosing it, like we will have the, for example, here we have the single rail with the single hook for S. Let me loosen it a little bit. Then I will fix it. And then I tighten it. Of course, there are tools to do that. Now I'm just showing that like here. Uh, and the torque in which you have to tighten with this screw, for example, is shown in our assembly manual, which you can find in our download library. There you will have the assembly manual, with all of the necessary information. Let me take it off again. So it took us away of the main point, like of showing the height compensator, but I wanted to give a brief or an idea of what's going on and how do we like install our roof hooks. Let me go here. So what happens is, let me take also the single hook 3S. What happens is I will place my height compensator and the roof hook will lay like this. So as we see now, like the holes will match the holes on the bottom of the height compensator. I will have two screws, one here and one there. So the roof hook will be fixed properly. This increases the height of this roof hook by 40, sorry, it will increase it by some millimeters here. So 4 millimeters. That's one way of like elevating the whole roof hook. That's one way for me. So in other cases, what if I wanted to increase only the height of this specific roof hook to some like, and that happened due to some necessity only on this position, and I don't want to increase it from here. So we can do that by our distance pad. The distance pad is placed under, it's being placed under our climber. So we will take this off. We'll take the screw off. And we'll place it like this. So this distance pad will give us a 2 millimeter height. So here we have 4 millimeters extra, here 2 millimeters extra. And what if I wanted to increase it more from here? Here we have the ability to install and insert two distance pads on top of each other. So we'll have 4 millimeter total. So we have this ability here to install double, but here we install only single. So only single part. So as I said, depending on the necessity in the project, whether I need 2 millimeter extra height here or 4 millimeters here, like depending on on these situations, I will choose either the distance pad or the height compensator. So as we see these tools, of course, we developed it according to our customer to the transparency with our customers, according to the questions we get in the technical sales support, and to the feedback from our customers. So as we see, and depending on the feedback of our customers, these tools help a lot on the installation, and they ease it. So after showing that, I want to show another like product, which is called the single board. We've showed it before. I'm gonna show it again. Why do we use the single board? It looks like this. And as we see, here is a channel of M. Like here we can install our hooks on 3 elevations also. So where do we use the single board? Imagine we have a roof and at the end of the roof, let me say, we needed to install one roof hook, but there is no rafter there. And we needed that. It's a technical necessity. Like we have a long cantilever and we have to fix one hook there. That's why we use the single board. It will connect one rafter to the next one. Then we will have a bridge between two rafters, and the roof hook will be slided and then tightened in the middle of them or on the needed position, I mean. So, and this is like also an available product, you can consider it also while you're planning your project on K2 base. So these are the main three tools I wanted to show today, and I think that's it from my side. And it's the time now to go for K2 base with Vladimir and to plan a hip roof together.
Thanks, Salah. Let me share my screen again. Um, so we already got one question asking us to show how to find our roof hook matrix. So I'm showing it again. So first of all, you have to select the correct mounting system, single rail or solid rail in this case. For example, you're selecting the single rail system. Then you go to the downloads area. And here you have like 4 areas, and the matrix is here where you can find roof fastenings and accessories. And here the third one is the matrix with roof hooks. But also important to know about the roof fastenings. We have here like 2 documents, one for the single rail. There are roof hooks only for the single rail. You can find it here. If you are looking for the hooks for the solid rail, you have to select here the solid rail system. In the downloads area, you have to select the same, and you will,
Vladimir,
yeah.
just one thing, could you please turn on also your camera in case uh, in case uh, it did not happen?
What shall I do?
Yeah, your camera is turned off. Could you please just turn it on?
So, okay.
Yes, now it works.
Now, okay. Okay, great. So, if you're looking for the hooks for the solid rail, you have to select first the solid rail system here, and then go to the downloads area. And here, then you will find the same matrix, but here you will find another hooks. These are the hooks for the solid rail. There you go. Okay, let's start with our sample. So as I said, the first step uh, in planning our system for tile roof is to find out which hook do I want to use in this system, do I need to use in this system. And this is like our sample for today. I selected a tile manufacturer Creaton called Titania. It's not so important. Um, Important is the material of the tile and its size and button spacing. So this one is a clay tile. So the first step will be to go to our matrix and see, okay, clay roof tiles here. This one is a curved one. So we can use here, for example, our single hooks 3S, 4S, and 3S long. And now we have to find out which of them will be suitable with this specific tile. So uh, to find it out, we need to take the length of the tile, in this case 515 millimeters, and to check the po possible button spacing. So the possible button spacing in this case is between 380 millimeters and 424 millimeters. Every time calculating the hook we need, we have to use the worst case scenario, and this would be, in this case, 380 millimeters. So now we have to find out how long should be this extension arm of the hook, so this T parameter. To find it out, we need to calculate. So we take the size of the hook, 550 millimeters, and we are taking from it the minimal button distance, 380 millimeters. And so we have now 135 millimeters and this is supposed to be our extension arm length. So now we are going back to our table, and we will see here that, for example, our single hook 3S, we'll make it a bit bigger, is just too short for this style, and almost every hook is too short for this type of tile, except of our 3S long hook. Here we have extension arm of 140 millimeters. That means that it will be suitable for 135 millimeters. So we know now that for our project we will use single hook 3S long. So now we are switching to base. I have already pre-selected some roofs with the form we are looking for heaped roofs. I believe you know how to do it. You just put here the address. Address is very important because the wind loads and snow loads are calculated usually automatically. So this is the main reason for the address. Here, you have to select the terrain category, and then you can just draw your roof. So subject of our today's webinar is heap roof. So we have here two possible forms like triangle and trapezoid roof. Let's start with triangle roof. So we're starting always with if and trying to draw it so good as possible. The roof height, for example, 12 meters, roof pitch 25. The building length is not important as well. Rafter spacing. So these are all the details you have to know from your roof. So for this sample, I will just put something there. What else I want to see here? It's we receive often questions. What do I do if there is no roof? If my house is not on the map, what can I do in this case? In this case, you know that your roof, for example, somewhere here, you just draw it here. It's not really important if the house is on the map or not. The calculation will still be correct. So exactly. So the next step is our design. So here you have to select PV model you will use. I'm just selecting one. It's not so important. Yeah, I forgot to mention one very important thing, that on this satellite view, you just have to draw the roof. But if you know the exact dimensions of the roof, you can put here the dimensions here in this 2D view. And for example, like like it's not 11 meters but 12, you can just adjust it here in this way. So here you can also display the rafters, and yeah. So let's go back to the design. So I'm always planning PV plans in our 2D because this satellite view is only important to find out the terrain category. Everything else is easier and better to do in this 2D view. So let's go to design. So we have find out that we want to use single hook 3S long, and this hook is suitable with our single rail. So here on this step, we have to select the single rail and to create our PV field, model field. So because of this triangle form, you have to draw the model field bigger than the roof. something like this. Here you see like this option, which show you the models you won't able to install on the roof because of the roof size. You can click on it and remove it. What is important here, you can also let base show you the rafters. This option is very good to see where, for example, here I see that one more model can be possible if I move the model field to the right, like this. Do you see? Now I have one more models. Great option in this hipped roof. It's available only here. Is this offset style? What does it mean? Clicking on it, we will see it that the models are moved like in the middle of the previous row. In this way, you can install more models on the roof. Let's move it a bit to the right to put one more model here. And now we have our model fields, so no more models will fit on the roof. So we can go to our results. Here in the results, there are hooks and rails pre-selected, but we know that this single hook through S is too short for our tile, so we need to select the single hook through S long. Here you go. The system is calculating where the hooks to be placed, if probably there are less hook to be placed or more hooks, but it will be done automatically. You don't have to care about it. Here is already rail pre-selected as single rail 36. You can check here deflection and tension of the rail. You see here that only 23% and only 45%. So you can select single rail light. This rail is a bit thinner than the single rail 36 and a bit cheaper. So if you know that it will be verified as well, so you can just select was rail, I would say. What can you select here as well is the length of the rail. For example, these are our old rail lengths, and now we have this new rail lengths. So if you don't have the old lengths on stock, you just select new rail lengths. One important option here, if you will see that the system is not verified, that you have, for example, here above 100% for fastener for the hook and above 100% for the rail. You can select here 3 rails per model, and usually it helps. Usually with 3 rails per model, you can install everywhere independent of the snow load or something else. So what can you else see here under results? Very important, this part, the loads on models, because every model manufacturer has own assembly instructions for every model, writing there which loads are allowed by clamping, for example, on the short side, by clamping on the long side, by screwing, and so on. Yeah, and you have to check the loads here, calculated by base with the loads you have in the mounting instructions of the model manufacturer. Here also you can see rail details. For example, for long rails, is very important. For example, here you can see rail composition, meaning you have one whole rail, one full rail with 4 meter 80 and one part of the rail with 4 meter 30. For the shorter rails, the composition will be different. Another important point here is the cantilever left, cantilever right. So you can see here, for example, that you have only 188 millimeter cantilever on the left side, and the maximum cantilever would be here with this rail 494 millimeters. So it means it's a rail utilized by 38%. And this is the same value for the right. So you see here the cantilever, it's a bit longer, and the rail is utilized by 46%. By clicking on the model, you will get here a bit more information. So you can see, for example, for the roof hooks, utilization in the roof area, so in the field area means this wide area. And also you can see here the distance between the hooks, 1 meter here everywhere, and deflection tension on the base rail. So these are the same values you can find here as well. So let us draw another roof. So it was triangle roof. Now we will draw a trapezoid roof. So starting again on the bottom and trying to do it so precisely as possible. This way, for example. So as I already mentioned, you can switch to the 2D view and adjust some values, which are not correct. Here you have even two additional options. You can make this hipped roof equilateral or perpendicular on the left side or on the right side. What does it mean? Just clicking on it, you will see it. Like you have here perpendicular side on the left or perpendicular side on the right. Now Base is calculating something. If you're having the issue like this, the Base is trying to calculate something, the easiest solution is just to refresh the page. So let's come back to our equilateral roof. So now we will choose the same rail, but now I want to place the model's landscape because I believe that on this roof I can put more models in landscape. So showing the model field. Okay, let's do it again. Here we go. So this is our model field without offset style. So the clamping is on the long side. Therefore, we need two rails, base rail and upper rail. You can see under results how to be placed. So here, for example, you can select base rail or upper rail to show it. For example, now it's shown only the basic rail, and now also the upper rail. So what is the reason for having these two rails? It's for clamping the models on the long side, because if you have bigger model, for example, 2 meters or bigger, usually you have to clamp it on the long side, and our base rail is always directed from edge to the edge. So, but now if you have, we can check how many models we have placed on the second roof. There are 18 models. And I'm quite sure that by using this offset style, we can put more models on the roof. So let's check it. Yeah, exactly. We have now 21 model here. Switching to results, we will see how the rails are placed. For example, this one is much shorter than this one. So we have like this offset style here. So, but we have here in design two options to clamp the models placed in landscape. Another option is to clamp the models on the short side. So if you are sure that you have a smaller model like this one, for example, with only 1 meter 76, usually you can clamp these models on the short side as well. So you can select here short side, but on the short side you have no option to let base create this offset model orientation. But now you have only one layer. This means that you have less layers, less rails, and the system is much cheaper. This error message or just information message is very important. It's explaining what I already said, that some models, but by clamping the models on the short side, you have to check the manual instruction of the manufacturer. And another problem here, that because of the distance of the button distance, it's often impossible to make this quarter clamping here. And if you are missing this quarter clamping on the short side, is usually not allowed by the models manufacturer. So you have to be clamping the models on the short side, you have to be very careful. So now we have to select our hook, the correct hook, 3 is long. You can check it here. Yeah. Fastenalization is okay. Realization is also good. So we can use a WOS rail here, thinner rail. What else I want to show you that even we have here this one layer system clamping on the short side, no offset style, but here, since the models are not connected with each other, we can create this offset style manually, just adjusting each row. For example, putting 6 models here, the next row, yeah, with 5 models. And the next row with 4 models, and so on. So in this way, we are creating the same offset style, but also with only one layer by clamping on the short side. So here you have the same information as before. What else can I show you? I believe it's all. Let's go to the summary. Summary, you can see here for sure all the components you have to use in the system. You can see here the list price, 1 roof, 2 roof. What else important? The price per kilowatt peak. You can see it here. On this side, there are different options to create some documents. Very important is, for example, this our report, our static report. You can generate this and take a look into it. There you will find quite the same information that you already can see in base. It's taking sometimes more time than expected. So here you see your roof, your 2 roofs. You can switch from one roof to another. Oh, that's the right option. Here you can select the roof. Just go to the second roof, for example. Here you can see the rail composition is very important. So how do you have to cut the rails? Fastener spacing, we have everywhere 1 meter. Model areas and so on. Here you will find how to mount the rows.
Vladimir,
Yeah.
We had like some question that says, what about it actually asked us if there is some rule of like the distance from the edge, and the answer was no. The rule here is not the distance from the edge of the roof, but the distance between the rail end and the last hook, which is the cantilever. This is what's important for us. And
Exactly,
could
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
could you
So
please show us that also in the report? Where do we find the cantilever, the maximum cantilever we can go for?
the maximum cantilever. At the moment, I have to look for it. Cantilever.
Yes,
You can see it here, but
exactly.
also, but also you can see it directly in base. So you can see
Mhm,
it here as well. Clicking on the rail, you will see
mhm.
it here. This is the same value, 569. You can see it in the report. This is the same
Exactly.
569.
So if you are a planner, you can see it from base. If you are showing the report to a third party,
Yeah.
then that's as you explained it,
Yeah, and
Vladimir.
our rule on the distance between the rail and the roof edge, the most important part that you have everything on the roof. So it's not allowed that the rail here is looking it's like it's here. It's like behind the roof edge.
Yeah,
Everything's supposed to be on the roof models and the rails. If it's here, it's already completely wrong, and you have to cut it.
exactly. Because then, like, the wind will come,
Yeah,
or the
exactly.
system will be exposed, the
Yeah,
rail will be exposed, and the wind calculation
yeah,
will be totally different.
exactly. And also on the roof you have different areas. For example, this yellow area is the H area. For example, this area is the H area in the if, and here you have much more loads. As for example, in this yellow area or in the white area. In this case, it's not important, but if you have a lot of snow loads, it can be it's possible that the hooks here or rails here will be overloaded. That means that you will need to delete this model or move everything from this red area.
Yeah. Thank you, Vladimir.
So I believe that's all from my side. If there are any questions, we are here to answer them.
Yes, thank you so much, Vladimir. Thank you for the fruitful explanation. I guess from my side, I answered like also all of the other questions, but we can have like now take maybe one or two questions, vocal questions. If you want to participate and talk to us, you have now the chance to raise your hand, and we'll turn your mic on. So. So we did not have a hand, but we had a question. Please, can you explain when we use offside option?
When we use it,
So yeah, like the question says, could you explain when we use offside option?
so you just you can use it. You don't have to use it. But for example, in this case, as I showed previously,
Mhm.
moment I will do this model field bigger.
So you're going to share your screen again,
Ah, yeah.
Vladimir?
Sorry, I forgot about it.
Yeah.
Now I'm sharing it again. Yeah. So if you're having like model field like this, drawing this, if you don't have this offset style, yeah.
Mhm.
Wait a moment. So now you can check how many models fit on your roof. And you will see here only 18 models. But using the offset style, you're like saving place. You can put more models on it. Wait a moment, I will do it better. Now you can see that there were 18 models. Now you have 21 model on the roof. And another advantage of this offset style just looks much better on your roof. See here, it's like looks great, much better. So I would say these are two biggest advantages of this offset style.
Okay, thank you, Vladimir. I was just answering some question. Uh, and I don't think we have more questions here. We have a hand switched. Let me check. Okay. So yeah, so Dennis, Mr. Dennis, you can now talk to us.
Hello, perfect. Thanks for the webinar so far. I have a question concerning the cutting of the tiles. Is there any other option besides cutting every individual tile? We have under other options that could be considered, especially cutting on top of the roof is always, yeah, a bit difficult. So are there any other options that we could maybe refer to?
Uh, the only option that you can replace the tile and use there such a replacement. For example, Marzari is the manufacturer of these replacement tiles, so you can replace a hook by this replacement. I don't know, plate,
Hmm. Okay, I see.
and use it
Is
instead. But this is the only option. Otherwise, you have only to cut them.
okay. Are there also additional partners next to Matsari, or
Oh,
is K2
so so
planning on?
you will have to buy it on site because we only provide Matsari and not only types of Matsari products. So
Oh, okay,
you
I
will
see.
have to check it on site or maybe ask your distributor. Maybe they have something and can
All right,
help you.
perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Dennis, uh, for joining us. And we have also Mr. Pierre. Yes. So you should turn your mic on, Pierre. So if this is not possible, you could also place the question in the Q&A, and we can answer it now, like vocally. Let me check if we had any other questions. Okay, we don't have here. Um, like the other questions are all answered. I think we don't have anything new, Vladimir. So by that, I would say, like Pierre, for your question, you could also send us like an email. Like we'll write the email now on the chat where you can send your questions to, and we will talk about it more into details there. So as we don't have any other questions now, like I would end now our webinar today. Like thank you, Vladimir, for the fruitful input from your side. Thank you, Klaus, for like recording this webinar. And yeah, I think like we will like just follow us and like we will announce our next webinar. Uh, yes, so that mhm. So the next week webinar will be about the PDF report from base. And yeah, so until then, thank you so much for joining us today, and I wish you a nice day.